All right, I'm back once again. God still speaks through visions and dreams. Yes, He does. I got some more stories for you. I'm not telling these stories just for the sake of telling them, although they are interesting. I would really hate for these stories to just go to waste. I really would. Um, I would be afraid to just let these stories go to waste, and because I think I would have to give an account to God for it. So regardless of what people might think about me and these stories, or regardless to how silly I feel telling these stories sometimes, I think I'm going to do what I've been called to do. Okay, I would rather go ahead and do what I think I've been called to do than to not do it and take the chance of going before the Lord and not doing what I supposed to have done. Okay, now, what if you, well, it's possible that you can become saddened over the loss of an succubus. And what do you do when that happens? Okay, it's possible that you can feel bad for them. And some of them, I'll be honest, again, what do you do about it? You fast. You fast, man. You have to break your flesh down. You fast, you pray, you read the book of Psalms, you curse those spirits. No matter how you feel about them, you still curse them. Because if you don't, they're going to curse you. So I got some stories here. I felt bad for some of them. Sometimes I really did. Because some of them were just a lot like people. Just they were people. They just people in their world. And somehow they're able to come here, cross over to this world, and interact with us. But how many have heard of the old hag? If you look up the old hag, uh, on Google. And I had never heard of the old hag. This was back in 1993. Okay, I had never heard of the old hag. But I met the old hag for the first time, and I met the old hag in an out of body experience. Man, those 1993, those are some really trying days. But anyway, I was laying down, and this was when I began to go in and out of my body. I started experiencing these out of body experiences. And I laid down, and I was in the spirit, the spiritual realm. And I heard all these little creatures in my house. These demons, spirits. And, well, now that explains why I was having so much trouble, too, in my marriage and in my family. And, I mean, man, it was crazy back then. It was crazy, man. I was having all kind of trouble in my finances, marriage, finances, relationships, church. But God let me look into the spirit. I was in the spirit. And instantly, when I was in the spirit, I heard all these little creatures in the house, and they took off running, running real fast. And I chased them out the house. And when they all left out, I went back and laid down. It's been a long time since I'm trying to remember everything. Okay, but then I went back and laid down in my body, and I heard the Lord I heard him say, look, let me show you something. And I was tired. I was like, Lord, I really don't feel like it tonight. I'm tired. My wife is in shambles. Nothing is working. But he put me in that vision anyway. And so I got up again out of my body, And I chased those little creatures out the house. They was going through the windows, through the doors. They were running from just running from my presence. And that's what demons are, man. They know you. They know you been spending time with God. And I was spending a lot of time with God back then. I was spending a lot of time with God back then. I was fasting like I've never fasted. I was in the Word like I've never been in it. But still, I was having all these problems. But anyway, so when I got to my living room, these two women was in there. And I grabbed one, the older one, but the first one took off running. She ran out the house, ran out in the middle of the street, away from me. But I grabbed that older one, and I beat the living lights out of her. And I took her head and banged it all up against the door frame. And I was saying, get out of my house, get out, don't come back in here, as I was banging her head up against it. And the second woman was out in the street looking at what was going on, and she was screaming. And but in that, it was amazing how confident and sure I was in that vision, you know. But anyway, some days later, I believe I saw that old hag on the street. I'm telling you, man, I believe it to this day. That's been 26, 27 years ago, but I believe it to this day. And she was the most pitiful, ugliest old woman. And you might say, well, that's just an old woman. No, I don't think so. They will show up. They will show up sometimes. Okay, they will show up sometimes.
Big Fritz is coming over Tuesday.
We just put it in. Okay. All right. So sometimes, and I felt bad for her, but I saw this old woman on the street, and I was looking at her. I was thinking, man, this is a strange looking woman. This is a strange looking old woman. And I was just sitting there, just looking at her, and she was just sitting with her head down like this, and she was looking so. I had never seen such a depressed, sad, despondent look on a person. Okay, that's another indication. These spiritual beings are more. Their emotions are just more stronger on their face. Okay, that's the best way I can describe it. Their emotions are just stronger on their face. But she had the most sad, despair look, hopeless look on her face I've seen on anybody. But as time went by, I believe that was the old hag. Okay, but I felt kind of bad for her. I did. I was like, man, because see, I'm not the same in the spiritual realm as I am in the physical. But God told me, He said, do not feel sorry for them. Yeah, He said, don't feel sorry for them. He said, because while you're gone, they're in your house trying to get your kids to do things that's not right. And if something happened to one of your kids, they're not going to feel sorry for you. Don't feel sorry for them. Okay? So I had to start training myself not to feel sorry for any of them. Because they don't care about you. You can't feel sorry for them. You got to kick them out. You got to take your words and kick them out. Your words. Take the word of God. Okay? Tell them, get out. Get out, get out. I don't want you. Get out. I damn you. I curse you. I set you ablaze. All that. I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. You kick them out with your words and don't do what they say. If you know they're telling you to do something, don't do it. That's how you get them out. Now, it might be a fight and a struggle, but they're going to leave. You know what God told me one time? He said, if you don't run, the devil will. If you stand your ground and you don't run, He said, the devil will. Okay? Now, I remember this particular succubus. She's about 3 feet tall, and she's Caucasian. Well, let me do this one here. You know, after the first the first succubi I told you about, that was like the third one. It was like that first one and that woman with that little girl, and then it was like two more, and one of them I remember. I finally caught up with her, and I was in my living room with her. We were talking, and I was explaining to her she's got to go. You got to go. You got to get out. She was angry. No, I'm not going. You know, she was a black brunette, well, black hair, I think. Was that brunette? Well, she might have been 18, 19. No, I'm not going. No. And so I said, you got to get out. You got to go. Now, I was kind of feeling bad for her. Okay, and then this is a lesson God was teaching me, not to feel bad for them, but I was feeling bad for them. And so tears was welling up in her eyes, and she was angry. No, I'm not going. Okay, but I materialize knives. There were knives just materialized in my hand. And I said, you are going. You getting out of here. Okay? And she was like, no, they don't, man, they don't. You have to make them go. You have to make them. Most of the time, they don't go on their own. You have to make them go. But these knives materialized in my hand. And as I was saying, and then that's when I began to feel emotion. Tears started coming in my eyes. I was like, you got to go. Because, see, the Lord told me, you got to get them out. I'm going to do what the Lord say. Okay, I'm going to do what he say. I don't care what they say. You don't do what the Lord say, you're going to be in trouble. So these knives materialized in my hand. I was like, you got to get out of here. And then I began to become emotional about it. Because then I realized that was some attachment. I didn't know it was an attachment. You can be attached to someone and not know it. But God will help you see it. He will help you get out of it. Okay? So I became emotional about it, but I learned later that don't even if you become attached and emotional, you still stand your ground. You still resist. You got to do that. Okay, it might hurt you to resist, but you got to do it. And you might think, man, why am I got an affection for these people? I don't want this, but it'll be there. Okay. So this other little 3 feet tall, she was about 3 feet tall, but she was a woman. She was a full-grown woman. She looked like a 35-year-old woman, but she was only 3 feet tall, the size of a 10-year-old girl. Okay, but that was the way she was made or created. I mean, she wasn't deformed or anything. That was her natural size. And she had been coming visiting me from off and on. But I finally caught up with her, and she came in my room, and I was, again, this time I was playing like I was asleep because I wanted to get close enough to me so I could grab her. She was on the side of the bed. I reached for her, but she evaded my reach. Went around to the head of the bed, around my head. And I grabbed her. Then I grabbed her by her hand because I didn't want, this time you're not getting away. I'm gonna get you out of my house. I grabbed her by her hand. I held her real tight. And so I was telling her, as I was holding her, I was telling her, you got to get out. Get out. We're not supposed to be together. This is not right. She was mad. She was angry. I'm not getting out. And you can't make me, all that. I said, this is wrong. We're not supposed, this is wrong. This is not right. She said, no, there's nothing wrong with what we're doing. She said, the only thing wrong with this whole situation is your ignorance. And that ticked me off. That made me mad. She said, the only thing is wrong with all this is your ignorance. I grabbed her and I picked her up and I threw her against the wall so hard, really hard. And when she hit the back of the wall, her head went over like this, and her eyes slowly went out like this. And so the next day I was thinking about that, and I was starting to feel bad about it. I was starting to feel bad. I was like, because she was like a person. Okay? She was like a person. But I couldn't allow myself to be trapped in that type of emotion. You can't allow yourself to be trapped in that kind of emotion. Another time, this succubi was visiting me, and I think this one here, I tried to get her. She was crawling in the bed with me, and one night I caught her, and I rolled over on top of her and I started choking her. I was choking her as hard as I could. I could feel those muscles tightening up in her neck because she was trying to resist my grip. And I forgot exactly how all that went, but I wasn't able to. Oh yeah, I remember now. As I was choking her, I started feeling sorry for her. Yeah, that's right. That's what happened. I started feeling sorry for her because she was starting to feel like a person. She was fighting, man. She was fighting back hard. And as I had her neck, I could feel her neck tightening up, and she was fighting and struggling to survive. And I started feeling sorry for her, and I let her go. So I was thinking about it the next day. I felt bad for her and everything, which was not good. And the Lord told me, He said, wait for her to come back tonight. I think this is the same one. It might be a little different. But anyway, these things happen. Wait for her to come back tonight. And so I did. I went and laid down like I always do every night. But in my mind, I was waiting for her to come back. She came back. And this time she looked like she had a different, took on a different form or something. Different hairstyle or something, I don't know. I guess she was trying to trick me and make me think she was somebody else and not the same one, and I wouldn't hurt her. But I grabbed her, and somehow we wrestled out of the bed. She ended up getting out of the bed. I was sitting on the bed like I'm sitting right now with my feet on the floor. She was sitting between my knees. Somehow we ended up wrestling, and she ended up sitting between my knees. We ended up fighting out of the bed, and I grabbed her by her head and I broke her neck. Crack. Okay? And her neck went over like this, like that. Her mouth was open. And so I checked her neck to see if it was broke, to see if did I do the job? You know, I was checking her head and her neck. I felt kind of bad. Okay? But you cannot, do not feel bad for them. Okay? There was another incident. I was, like I said, sometimes I don't know if I'm in my house or their house. Okay, and this particular time, I thought I was in my house. But come to find out, I wasn't. I was in the bed, thought I was in my own bed. Because see, sometimes when I have these out-of-body experiences, I transition to different places, and I'm not aware that I've transitioned to those places. Sometimes I have to stop and look around to see, okay, where am I at? Am I in my bedroom? No, that's not my stereo. That's not my computer. Some of them don't have computers. Some of them are behind time. They're behind us. Some of them are like in the 70s, and then some of them are ahead of us. Okay. But anyway, I don't see my furniture in there, so I said, no, this is not mine. But anyway, this succubi, she looked like she was about 14 years old. She came, she opened the door, she peeked in the door because she's going to come in there and crawl in the bed with me. I said, don't come in here. I said, don't come in here with your ugly, nasty self. That's what I said. And now, sometimes I can't see them. My eyes are not open when I get to these places. But I can, as I said, this sixth sense, I can see, I know. With this sixth sense I have. Sometimes my eyes are not open. Sometimes I think my eyes are actually, like when they see me, when they look at me, sometimes I think my eyes are actually rolled back. And all they can see is the white in my eyes. Because I can't see them sometimes. But I could see with my sixth sense, I could see her opening the door. I could see her peeking around the door. And I told her, don't come in here with your ugly, nasty self. And she said, she knew I couldn't see her with my eyes. So she said, you can't even see me. But she said it like, you can't even see me. That's the way she said it. You can't even see me. I said, don't come in here. She came in there. Them people will risk life and limb for a piece of you. Okay? You are their joy. Okay? You are their joy. What do you think demons do with people in hell? They torment them because that's their joy. That's what demons do with people. They just use people for their joy. It doesn't matter how much pain you're in, or what it do to you, or what it does to you. That's all they want you for. But she came in. I got up out of that bed. I grabbed her and I threw her on the floor, and I started beating her in her, mostly in her abdomen for some reason. And every time I hit her, she would make this sound. She would make this sound. That sound is so pitiful. Okay, it would sound so pitiful. And this little girl looked like she was about 5. She opened the door and peeked around at what I was doing to her big sister, I guess. And I pushed the door shut in her face and just kept beating her. And I believe she died. I can't say that for sure, but I believe she died because it was like days later I saw this dead girl in a casket in a house. They have funerals. They have their funerals, and some of them have their funerals in their house. So, but I believe she died. But anyway, I ain't been bothered with her since. And you can't feel sorry for them. Now, this one succubi, I remember, I call her the dark succubi. That's what I call her, the dark succubi. Because she was dark skinned, but she was pretty. She was attractive, but she was dark skinned. First time I saw her, she looked really, really weird. I was in like a cafeteria or something, wherever that is. She was circling around the dinner table, or where we was eating at, the table where we put our food. She was just circling around the table. She was looking at me, but this is the first time I became aware and cognizant of her. But apparently we had been involved for a long time. See, y'all, we operate in the spiritual realm all the time. We just don't know it. We are just not cognizant of it. The Lord said we are seated with him in heavenly places. We're with the Lord right now. We're with him right now. Just like God can be many different places at once, we can too. But we're just not cognizant of the places that we're at. We're spiritual beings. We do the same thing he do. We were made in his image and his likeness. We do what he do. Okay? He said we're seated with him right now in heavenly places. So apparently this black, dark, I call it the dark succubus, she was interested in me. And I noticed she looked weird though. She looked really weird. I think she was high. They get high. They get drunk. They get high. And I think she was high. And she was circling the table, and every time she circled the table, she would touch my shoulder and come circle back around and touch my shoulder, just messing with me, And so, but she was looking so ugly and weird. I said, "Don't touch me again." You know what she did? She circled back around, touched me again. And now, see here, I was torn between apparently an old relationship and the commandments of God. I hadn't quite given up this old relationship. Now, I didn't know that's what the problem was, but looking back, I could see that's what it was. But to make a long story short, I would have many encounters with her, okay, at night. Many. I mean, we would be hanging out different places. I would be visiting her different places. Um, and one night, I don't want to give too much detail on this, but I remember what made me really decide she's got to go was, I mean, for a long time I might be in denial about the relationships, but this was so uh, real. I couldn't deny it no more. Okay, my experience with her was so real, and but anyway, I don't want to go into detail about what happened, but I mean, as adults, you know what happens when two adults are together, and you know. But so finally, one time for the last time, I was, she was, I knew I had to destroy her, and she knew it too. She knew I had to destroy her, and I knew it. Although there would be times when we would come together, and like old friends, like old friends. And so one time, this last time we were together, and you know, we had already been together many times, but I knew that I got to destroy her. The Lord told me, you got to destroy her. Okay. And now, usually when I'm with her, I'm under her spell. I'm under her spell. And so I don't have the wherewithal to destroy her because I'm under her spell. I will be under her spell. So anyway, she was sitting like on some steps. I was leaning up against a pole. And I was feeling childish. I was feeling childish, playful, because I was with her. Okay, I was with her, and I was feeling childish and playful. But I noticed she was sitting, and she was looking out in the distance, and she was looking very serious and very solemn. And she was looking like she had something really, really on her mind. But now I know what it was. She knew I had to destroy her. She knew it was coming. But I was looking at her, and I said, she had her back turned toward me. I said, let me see your face. She said, I can't. You'll die. And then I said something else stupid after that. I won't even say what I said. I'm telling you, man. When you're under these people's spells, you do a lot of crazy stuff. It take God to get you out. But anyway, I was whirling around the pole, just being silly like a child. Sometimes I feel like a child in these experiences. Sometimes I feel like a Superman. But anyway, she was just sitting there, and she was just looking out in the far distance, and she was just like, like she knew this, my end is near, and it's about over. And so the next time I saw her, we were in the bed again. She got up out of the bed. She went into what looked like a vanity room. Oh, let me go back. This succubi, let me back up. This succubi actually visited me at a church. It was her. I went down south to visit just for church. I went into the restroom, walked out the restroom into the vestibule, and this dark-skinned woman was sitting right there looking me right in my face as I was zipping up my pants. And she was looking me up and down. I started to go over there and speak to her and say, hi, how do you know? How you doing? Do I know you? Because see, we went back home down south, and there was a lot of people we hadn't seen for many years. And so I was kind of interested in who everybody was. Are you one of my old classmates, one of my old friends, because we had all been apart. But anyway, I started to go over there and ask her, who are you? What's your name? But for some reason I didn't. I just didn't go over there and ask her. And so when service was over, I was kind of walking around, greeting everybody, speaking to everybody. And then she walked to me, she grabbed my hand, she shook my hand, she said, hi. I said, hi. I said, who are you? And she told me her name. I don't remember what it was. It just left me as soon as she told me. God be protecting us. Okay, he protect us. He make us forget stuff sometimes, because if we didn't forget it, it would hurt us. Okay, he make us forget things. And so she shook my hand. I said, I don't remember going to school with you. Okay, this was in this what I'm talking. This part right here was physically actual happened. Okay, this wasn't a dream or a vision or an experience in the spiritual realm. This actually happened. She was at this church. And I said, I don't remember going to school with you. I said, did you come up with me? She said, no, I came up with your sister, Marie. I said, oh, okay. And then she told me her name. And I said, okay, then. All right. It was nice meeting you. So I left. I didn't think nothing much about it. Okay. Because I didn't recognize her. But when we all loaded back up in the van to drive back to Kansas City, I got to thinking. I felt this is like I said, they don't always say how I am so and so. They don't do that. But it's just other little things that happens that make your inside intuitively know that was not normal. So when I was driving back, I was the driver, and I was driving back to Kansas. This strong urge came over me: go back and see her. I had never felt that type of passion or urge or yearning to go back and see anybody. But I mean, it was unusually strong. Okay, it was unusually strong. And I was thinking to myself, man, I'm not driving back with all these people on this van going back there. I mean, it was a fight within myself. Okay. And I was like, I can't go back there and see who that woman was. I wouldn't do that. But it was something about her I knew that was unusual, very different. I mean, later I realized that she was the one. At the moment, I didn't recognize her. But the last time I saw her in the spiritual realm, she got out of bed and went into what looked like a vanity room. Okay. And then God spoke. He said, destroy her now. That's what he said. He spoke to me. I don't remember hearing it verbally, but that's because the spell was broke. I wasn't under her spell anymore. And I was like, I'm with the succubus. And I got up out of that bed like Superman. I went in that vanity room. She knew it was coming. I went in that vanity room again and again. In the spiritual realm, you are very strong. And many, 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 many times, when I attack those people, I've done agents like this, those men in black, I've done them like this. I'll tear their limbs off. I'll tear their wrists off, their arms off, their heads off, legs off. And I just scatter their body parts all over. And that's what I did to her. I scattered her body parts all over. I felt bad for her. I really did. I felt bad for her. Because she had become, and I remember though, she told me she couldn't show me her face, else I would die. And that was another thing that made me feel bad for her, because, I thought maybe she was trying to protect me at the same time, but maybe not. All I know is if the Lord say do something, I got to do it. He say take her out, I got to take her out. Get rid of her, I got to get rid of her. But I was walking along one day. I felt bad for her, and I was thinking about it, and I said, and you can communicate with them telepathically, easy. And by then I learned how to do it. But I don't do it just for the fun. I don't do it just for entertainment. I do it when I think it's necessary. And so telepathically, I contacted her and I said, and it don't take no lot of meditation. It's just when your mind and your heart is one, and let me see, what am I trying to say? is working together, you can do it them. And a lot of times they communicate back. But I asked her, I said, why didn't you just leave me? You knew I was going to destroy you. You know what she said? I didn't have nowhere else to go. I felt bad for her. I felt bad for her. But I can't. I got to keep going. I got to keep going. If you stop and become sympathetic or empathetic toward them, that can keep you out of the kingdom of God. I can't miss heaven for nothing. I don't want to miss heaven for nothing. I hope I'm not tested too hard. I hope I'm not. I can think of some things that if I was tested with, I don't know if I would pass the test. I hope I'm not tested too hard to, because sometimes, let's see, I done got myself mixed up here, what I'm trying to say. But, well, let's scrap that. But you cannot let them keep you out of the kingdom of God. Okay? You can't do it. You can't be so sympathetic toward them at all. And a lot of them will come across as like just normal people. They're just trying to enjoy life just like us. Okay? But they have been rejected. And when she told me she couldn't let me see her face because it would kill me, then that made me think that she had some concern about me, but I can't. I got to do what God told me to do. All right? So, I'm telling you, if you become attracted to them or attached to them, emotionally attached to them, because it can happen without you realizing it. You got to fast. You got to pray. You got to confess the word. You got to curse them. You got to speak to them, tell them to get out. Because I'm going to say this and I'm going to close this video. I had a succubi visiting me a long time, and she was a dark-skinned girl, kind of cute. But she was visiting me a long time, and the Lord brought it to my attention. The Holy Spirit brought it to my attention. He said, he was just showing me, this succubi has been coming around you for a long time. It was like, they can do that without you really, as long as you pass it off as just a dream, then they can just keep coming. You be thinking that was just a dream. And then before you know it, man, you done went 3-4 months with them visiting you because you like in this sleep mode. And you thinking all this was just a dream. All that was just a dream. But anyway, the Lord brought it to my attention. He says that she's been visiting you a lot. And I said, yeah, that's right, Lord. I said, she's been around for a long time. He said, then he asked me, he said, have you done what I told you to do to get rid of them? And I said, Lord, I haven't. And what he told me to do is just tell them to get out. Okay? And so I did. I said, I think I went back to my house or my bedroom or wherever. I told her, you got to get out. Get out of my life. Get out of my house. Okay? Get out. And so the next night or the night after, we met. And I went to go meet her. I was at her house. I walked into her bedroom. And I was like, I forgot what I said. I told her to get out. I didn't want her no more and all that stuff. But when I walked into her bedroom, she was sitting on the bed. She was waiting for me. And she was very angry. And she was looking at me like this. And she said, I hate you. I hate you. I hate you. That's what she said. Because the word that I had spoke was in effect. It was effective. Yeah, it was effective. That's what you got to do. Okay? So yeah, I got rid of her like that. Sometimes you have to speak. Sometimes you have to fast. Sometimes you have to pray and fast. Sometimes the Lord might say, stop reading that magazine. Or he might say, don't do YouTube today, or don't use Facebook for the rest of the week. He might say that. I don't know. You have to seek God. Anyway, this video went much longer than I want. My next video is going to be about revenge of the succubi. Some of them, they want revenge. Okay? I don't think I'm going to do no more tonight. I think I'm going to do revenge of the succubi tomorrow. Okay? God still speaks through visions and dreams. Yes, he does. May the Lord bless each and every one of you. May the Lord bless you and your family. Cause his face to shine upon you. All right? Hold on to the Lord with all you got. Don't let nothing turn you around. All right. God bless you.